All right. Well, this is Internship Manual episode 3. Thanks for, again, coming back and watching and learning about the Internship Manual and internship as a whole as you're getting ready to go out there and do that internship. So the next part of this Internship Manual really gets into the assignments, and this is kind of the meat of the potatoes of what you're going to be doing throughout your 12 weeks, 480 hours with your site. As we discussed in the last video, you're going to have to create the handshake. There will be a handshake video that I'll have you watch in Edpuzzle so that you can, again, make sure that you know how to do handshake. And then also, and one thing to keep in mind with that handshake, you can't start your internship hours until you get that handshake approved, and the approval process means that you submit it. Dr. Connor is going to activate it. The activation sends an email to your site supervisor. Your site supervisor will be asked to approve it. He or she will approve it. It'll come back to Dr. Connor, and then she'll approve it. And then once that happens, then your handshake is approved, and you can start counting your hours towards your internship. Before that, you cannot count any of your hours, and you really shouldn't start your internship until you get that handshake approved, because that's kind of the legal binding that makes sure everything is okay. The handshake becomes also important because your midterm evaluation and your final evaluation will be sent to your internship's site supervisor through handshake. Sometimes it's one of the challenging parts is to make sure that your site supervisor sees the emails that come from handshake, because they come from handshake. So sometimes they get dumped into the junk mail or the spam. So, but the handshake is important, and it's a mandatory that you make sure to get in there and do that. And you get points towards your grade for creating it and getting it approved. One of the first assignments you'll do for your internship after you do your handshake is the assignment calendar. And the assignment calendar basically is one way that you can track what's due each week. And since it also helps us as the site supervisor or faculty supervisors, that we can see when your work is going to be due. And it's really just a sheet that is individualized, and you create kind of when your own deadlines are going to be based upon when you start your internship. And I'll jump ahead here so you can see it in the appendix section. This is what the assignment calendar looks like. It's on Moodle. You can just download it. And really, the only thing you have to do, it's not tricky, is put when you start your internship. And week 1 is, if I was started this week and Monday was May 13th, my start date would be May 13th. Week 1 assignments would be due the following week. So that would be during that first week, you're working on your week 1 assignments. So week 1 was 13th through the 17th. I'd be looking for your assignments to come in on the 20th. So then the May 27th, and then move into June. And it's really not tricky to do it. You just add 7 days to each one, and that'll be kind of when your due dates are going to be. We put them in Moodle, but we have to put some generic in there because we can't individualize it for each person. So this gives us an opportunity to keep track of when your assignments are due. Real easy to do, and you get 25 points for submitting that. So make sure you do that. The next thing is weekly reports. And again, the weekly reports are now handled through time tracking. Time tracking, you're going to put in your hours, you're going to put in your daily logs, basically highlighting what you're doing each day, and then you'll submit that, and that'll be taken care of, approved. It's important that you tell us what you're doing with each one of those days, so that we can go in and make sure that you're getting experiences that are internship worthy, and so it gives us a way to track to see what you're doing in there. And here's the example back here after the assignment calendar. kind of what a daily log looks like. Now it's not going to look like that in time tracking, but you get an idea how you can break down times. Now, here's one thing. If you work for lunch, if you're taking a break and leaving the site or doing something that's, not work related, then you don't get to count your lunch. Now, if you're having a meeting and sitting down with people and talking about agency information, then you get to count lunch. All right? If it's a working lunch, you get to count it. If it's just, brown bagging, you're hiding in an office space or hiding somewhere, eating your lunch, well, that doesn't count for lunch. Okay, so you don't get to count that. So, and time tracking will keep track of all your hours that you put in each week. But again, don't put in lunch if it's not a working lunch. You can just skip that part, and you won't have to worry about that. Okay. Let me go back here. So make sure you keep track of your hours, keep up with those hours, keep up with your daily logs. Again, that's a great way that we can go through and track it. This is one thing that has changed, and we'll have to take this out. The daily logs only need to be kept for the first 6 weeks. Actually, now they have to be kept the whole time, so that because we have you put them into time tracker. So make sure that you do them all 12 weeks. The online discussions and responses. So back when you took 392 and you did your field experience, you had to go in and write a report basically on the agency that you spent time with and worked with. Well, here we're going to change it a little bit and kind of try to create a discussion and based upon that. And so each week, starting with week 3, you're going to go in and post discussions based upon prompts. And a lot of the prompts are very similar to what you did before. It's going to be like, what's the purpose of your agency? Talk about the mission, vision. How do they go about marketing? And so you're talking about your agencies and posting that material on the discussion page. And then others within the class in the internship can also go in and look at your post, and then you're supposed to respond. So you're going to have 8 or 9 different posts that you have to put in, and then followed up with that, you're going to have to make at least 5 posts to other people's discussions. Okay, so it gives you an opportunity to get involved and get interactive with each other, and that you're not out there just as an island by yourself. And so here's the topic areas that you'll be asked to discuss. And again, you don't have to wait till week 4 or week 5. You can do those ahead of time, and that's fine. Just make sure you're doing them in a timely manner and they're not coming in late. Week 9, talking about problem areas. That should be something you talk with your site supervisor about and see what kind of problem areas they are having within their agency or within the field, and kind of some suggestions of and you come up with some suggestions of how to deal with those problems. Okay, and they can talk about how they're trying to address that as well. The last one, you either have a discussion about what you would tell future RSM students about the guidelines experience that you had at that site, or you can post information about your informational interview discussion. And basically you put your transcripts from your informational interview into that week 10 so that others can see and learn about your experience there. And again, both prompts are here for you. Okay. So again, make sure you get involved with those weekly discussions, respond to people, and also make sure cite your sources in there. If you're taking information from another person, another organization, make sure you provide them provide the reader the information of where it's coming from. Okay. one of the things you're going to be doing here in RSM 396 is creating your goals and objectives for your internship. And so it's a starting point. You're going to write down your goals and objectives, and then in 396, and then hopefully use that as a starting point for creating your goals and objectives for your internship. And as we talked about in 396 earlier, those goals and objectives are kind of a starting point of helping you understand what you want to get from the experience, and then expressing that to your site supervisor. So your site supervisor does have to sign off on these goals and objectives to show that they read them and understand what you're trying to get, so that they can help you get to those. We're going back to what skills do you want to come away with from your internship. And now your site supervisor is aware of them and can help you, and it can help you work towards those. Okay. So you have to create at least five goals, and then based upon those goals, at least create an objective to go along with it. Remember, the goals are general statements of intent, and objectives actually give you a way to measure that. And think about it as benchmarks. What are going to show you that you've accomplished a skill? I give you an example in your in the Moodle page for this class. If your goal is to increase your professional network, okay, well then, make it measurable. Make it something that you can measure to tell if you actually increased your professional network. So I'd say by the end of my internship, I will add 10 people to my professional network. Okay. Now it's measurable. I can go back and tell and say, the 10 people that I've added in my professional network. If I can do that, I reach my objective. If I can't, if I can do 9 or 8 or 5, whatever, then I haven't reached that. And I know that I need to work harder to try to get to that point. Okay. So make sure, do a good job with these. I'm going to take a look at them here in the near future, but that's something that will give you a starting point. But the important part is it helps create that understanding of what you want to accomplish, and then help your site supervisor understand that as well as the faculty member that's supervising you. Special project. So one of the things you have to do for your internship is a special project, and it should be something, I always say, tell your site supervisor, or ask them what's something that they've wanted to accomplish but never really had the manpower or the human resources to accomplish it, and now that with you, they can do that. And so they might have some tasks. We've had them do everything from creating an internship manual to creating inventory and organizing, facilities, to creating a photo trail and explanation of facilities, or a park. We've had them do a wide variety of tasks, but it really comes down to what does your agency supervisor wants you to do that's going to help. But the other important part is, remember, this is an artifact that you can add into your portfolio to help show a skill set that you've accomplished. Okay. And so it should be something that you and your site supervisor discuss and come up with that's going to help you get some of those skills that you're seeking out, but also help him or her accomplish it. You have to propose what your special project is going to be, and that has to be done in early in the semester. You get 25 points for the proposal, and then you do your special project implementation or work on your special project, and then at the end you reflect and provide a critique, but then you also show what artifacts that you created that you can add into your portfolio. And so that's an important part of this, is that you want to be able to come away with something that you can show to potential employers that you've accomplished. And so there's rubrics in the back of the manual that kind of highlight how you're going to be graded for your critiques and reflection, but also the form is also, the special project proposal form is also in there. One thing that you have to do is write goals and objectives for your special project. Again, remember, objectives should be measurable and should be benchmarks of success. It's not, I created 25 flyers to help promote my event. Well, what's really going to show that you promoted the event? How many people come? Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and stop here, and we'll start with visitation next time.